Let's try and put some of this into action, shall we? So we want to take this photo of Mike and put him on a more interesting background. Now, as we talked about earlier, in one of our bonus movies, we tried to photograph him on a slightly easier background, but it's still going to be a bit of a challenge. So just by the nature of the kind of hair that he has, the curliness and the frizziness, whatever you want to call it. Oh, sorry, Mike, it's not frizzy. The extremely curliness of your hair, that we want to make a selection and put onto another photo. So I'm going to cut to the chase and not even bother try the automated tools. And here's the other thing. I might try select color range, but take a look closely at this photo. Remember, we have almost white background and almost white shirt. So I'm going to guess that at this point I'm not going to be able to do this in one step, because I'm not going to get one selection method that's going to be smart enough to really see the difference between the background behind him and his shirt. So what I would probably do is go right to the channels palette and take a look, and I honestly usually start with the blue channel and look at the others, because typically blue is the one you want. Duplicate it, do a little bit of levels to brighten up the white, and frankly I'm going to ignore his shirt at this point, as you'll see in a minute. I'm going to just try and get the background behind him a little more white and his hair a little more black. Maybe do one of our apply image commands that hopefully, as it did, will remember. This is one of the things I like about apply image, is it does remember what you've last used. Click OK. That looks pretty good to me, so I'm going to now go in with my lasso tool, and again I'm just trying to focus on his hair at this point. So I'm going to fill that with black, deselect, and then invert, see how I'm doing. I might at this point take my brush tool, change, it's already in overlay mode, and just make sure I've got some of those edges a little bit. Invert again, and then do the same thing here. Just make sure that I don't have any bits and pieces hiding here that I'm not aware of. Now clearly that is not going to select Michael entirely, but that's okay, because I'm going to just do this. Invert, load this as a selection, go back to RGB, and then press Command or Control J to pop that on a layer by itself. And so far looking pretty good, but we've missed the whole bottom half of him. So that's okay, because at this point I can use one of my other methods. Maybe the magnetic lasso tool will help me here. Recognizing, okay, apparently not, so let's deselect it. Just go back to the regular lasso and do it ourselves. So I'm just going to come in here, select along, go all the way around the outside, and then come up this side to right where I got his hair, and then just sort of cut across. So that looks pretty good. Let's press Q for a quick mask, make sure I didn't miss anything horrible. And we're on the background layer, so duplicate that. So now if I hide the background, I have no head combined with head. So now I have the two pieces that in fact I'm just putting together. So now that I've got that, I'm going to take the top layer, merge it down with the bottom layer, and let's see how we did. Take this merge layer, I'm taking the move tool, all I'm doing is dragging up to the tab for my other photo, holding there for a second until it switches photos, and then click to put it on there and position it. Not too bad. It's got a few little pieces missing. So what I would probably do in this case, zoom in a little bit, see how it got. That's actually not bad at all. I would load this as a selection and then turn it into a layer mask, because then it lets me go to my masks panel and refine the edge of the mask. Maybe contract it a little more, feather it just a hair. Till I'm happy with the way it looks there. Go back to exercise. That's pretty darn good. I'm pretty happy with that. I might just spend a bit more time tweaking, but you can see that's a fairly typical example of doing it in a couple of different steps, not expecting it to be able to do both halves at one time, but instead having to do it in a couple of different pieces, turning that selection on a layer into a mask so I can then tweak the mask and get it even closer to the result that I want.